English translation 511th contact. Sunday 25th of December 2010, 13:04 hours.
My greetings and welcome, Ptaah, dear friend. I saw you or someone else here in the office less than a quarter of an hour ago, because my armchair was in front of the other table, although I had moved it last night and put it in its correct place.
That was me who was using the armchair when I read the internet printouts lying there. And I came here for two reasons. Namely because I wanted to walk around a bit in the beautiful winter landscape, which I had already done before I came into your workroom. On the other hand, Florina asked me to watch a recording that she made, according to your request, which was about the Roswell case, etc. But greetings also to you, dear friend Edward.
Yes, here I have typed into the computer a question that I have already thought up, which I want to bring up. As I informed Florina, I had learned that a TV program was to be broadcast late at night on 24th of December in relation to the Roswell case, etc. I asked her to record it for you to watch, so that you could also watch it and then tell me what you think. I also watched the TV program myself, which was supposed to prove with old film footage of disc and bell-shaped and other futuristic flying apparatus and balloons of the USA, especially from Area 51, that there was no extraterrestrial but a secret futuristic American flying apparatus or balloon that crashed in Roswell. At least one American test pilot was allegedly seriously injured and taken away in an ambulance, and the debris from the flying apparatus was also taken away in a misused ambulance. In this context, several elderly men were interviewed who appeared as allegedly involved military witnesses, but who appeared to me to be rather suspicious, and therefore did not exactly make a trustworthy impression on me. They all talked in such a way as if someone had rehearsed something and then reeled off what they had learned. The film sequences were black and white shots that looked as if they really came from the 40s or 50s. In my opinion, it is very possible that the various flying apparatuses shown are original shots, showing flying apparatuses that really flew through the air and were classified by observers as extraterrestrial UFOs. This is precisely because, due to the nationwide military secrecy, they had no idea that these were secret terrestrial developments of futuristic flying apparatus. The same was the case in Argentina and elsewhere in South America, except that at the end of the Second World War, Nazi engineers who had fled Germany realized their plans for futuristic flying apparatus, which then flew through the air as UFOs and still do so here and there, as in the USA and elsewhere. But let's get back to the TV show and the shown pictures of futuristic flying apparatuses and balloons. It is also possible that everything is just a concoction to prove something that is a lie, namely that not an extraterrestrial, but a secret U.S. military test flying apparatus crashed near Roswell. If that is the case, then it is clear to me that the military eyewitnesses are only bought elements that have rehearsed their lies. Have you already seen the corresponding TV recording? And if so, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it.
I was familiar with the recording of the TV show because it was not new. You yourself obviously had not seen it before because otherwise you would have asked me about it. What I can say is that the black and white film sequences you mentioned really do correspond to original footage and show secret U.S. flying apparatuses that was further developed according to Nazi plans. This also involved Nazi engineers who were acquitted of their Nazi past in the USA and became American citizens. These, like the Nazi engineers who had fled to South America, also continued to work on the development of disc, bell, and balloon-shaped flying apparatuses which were airworthy and with which extensive test flights were carried out. This could be kept secret until today. Apart from the fact that the flying apparatuses were seen by many people from the population, who classified the whole thing as extraterrestrial flying apparatuses respectively as UFOs. However, The further development of such secret flying apparatus has not been discontinued, neither in the United States nor in various places in South America nor in other countries. Consequently, test flights are still being carried out with such apparatus today, not only over the production areas, but also in the airspace around the planet. And as it must be, these flying apparatuses are judged by observers around the world to be extraterrestrial UFOs, as has always been the case. This is not least because the U.S. Secret Services and the U.S. Air Force, as well as those in charge of Area 51, have been secretly fueling UFO mania among the population through all kinds of machinations in order to conceal the truth of the experimental flying apparatus. The so-called Cold War was a very special factor, which is why everything was handled in great secrecy, and this has remained so to this day. Even if the whole thing was interrupted by the end of Cold Warfare has diminished, so the great boom in test flights with secret futuristic flying apparatus is over. This does not mean that such flying apparatuses would not continue to be further developed and tested with secret test flights, because this is actually the case in various places, and therefore such objects can still be observed as UFOs, although no longer to the same extent as was the case in the past. Most of these test flights are still carried out in the USA and at various locations in South America. With regard to such flying apparatus, even today, a secret further development is still underway, which is why the USA is also still trying to portray the Roswell case as an illusion and as an accident with a balloon apparatus. This in order not to have to admit that they gained important technical knowledge from the crashed object, which they have been evaluating since then, in combination with the plan documents they have from the Nazi flying discs and Nazi flying bells they acquired in Germany at the end of the war. And the fact that German Nazi engineers worked with U.S. scientists, engineers, and technicians after the end of World War II on all the secret flying discs and bells and on rocket construction, as was also the case in the USSR, should also remain secret. And what more is to be said about the military eyewitnesses who appeared on the TV recording? You have seen their role correctly, because they were only alleged eyewitnesses who rehearsed and replayed their statements and had nothing to do with the Roswell case. The whole recording, which actually includes original recordings of flying discs and bell flying machines as well as balloons as U.S. developments, serves only to take the Roswell case ad absurdum and make it appear as fantasy to those who are responsive to the U.S. secrecy and cover-up lies and believe their nonsense.
Will the truth about the Roswell case ever be cleared up by the USA?
That is unlikely to be the case, because the whole thing is so secret that shortly after the Roswell incident, such a blockade of information was set up that only a few insiders learned the truth, while those involved were silenced under death threats. In addition, many written documents and statements recorded on audio carriers were destroyed, as well as much of the photographic and film material. Furthermore, a large number of those involved in the Roswell case were put under a hypnotic compulsion to forget. This means that their memories of what they had experienced were erased and replaced by unreal memories. This was done in the same way as it was done with the participants and contributors of the alleged first moon landing, which was only made up for later, whereby the corresponding facts were also created with regard to objects and traces on the moon.
We have talked about this several times, much of which is recorded in the reports of the talks. But I am now interested in whether, since my last question regarding other extraterrestrials who do not belong to you Ptaah or to your Federation, any other extraterrestrial flying apparatuses have flown into earthly space in the meantime?
Since we completed our surveillance technology for objects entering the Earth's space years ago, and are therefore able to locate and register even the smallest objects. There have been no entries of unearthly flying apparatuses that do not belong to us Ptaah or to members of the Federation. It is also not to be assumed that there will be any more such foreign incursions in the foreseeable future. And what has happened in the last 300 years with such flights into the earthly space has found its reason in the fact, as we have clarified in the meantime, that really all extraterrestrials who came to Earth found their way to Earth by some unforeseen coincidence, or in 2 cases by coordinate information. The fact that the way from extraterrestrials to the SOL system and finally to Earth led in some cases was either due to uncontrollable coincidences or due to coordinates received, etc. Some also came to Earth through curiosity, aberration, or by accident, after they unintentionally or intentionally entered the Sol system. However, most of the entries took place because of uncontrollable coincidences, and also because the Earth was discovered. There were also flights into Earth from the Alpha Centauri area when the SOL system was approached, and of course Earth was discovered and explored. So it was usually a rare coincidence that extraterrestrials other than us, the Ptaah and our federated ones, came to Earth. Only in 2 cases aliens came to Earth via the coordinates given by very distant Nocademian descendants. There were not any other strangers to the Earth other than those who came to Earth through the coordinates and uncontrollable coincidences. So the visitors were not those who flew to Earth as a special destination, with 2 exceptions. But we Ptaah and our Federation and the ancient Lyrans are excluded from this, because even our very distant ancestors knew the SOL system and the Earth, and so they visited the Earth millions of years ago.
This is familiar to me, because they came to the SOL system because of the moon, whose path they followed when it blasted out of their space-time structure, through a dimensional gate into our space-time structure, and settled on Earth. And it is also clear to me that there is not extraterrestrial human life at every corner of space, and that extraterrestrial human beings are not to be found in every corner of the universe, as the human beings on Earth are led to believe by science fiction films. There are indeed billions of solar systems in which there are also planets, but those that carry human life, which is also highly developed and capable of space travel, are very rare in our Dern universe. That is why, as you once said, your Federation is spread out over hundreds of millions of light-years in your space-time structure, because the human beings are scattered in the vast expanse of space, and it is not densely populated with humans. Often there are dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of light-years between human-inhabited worlds, and also only a few of the human beings on these inhabited planets are capable of space technology. The same applies to our space-time structure, and consequently also to the fact that there are not masses of human beings on the planets, but only a few of them in the vastness of our own or any other galaxy. For this reason alone, it is crazy to claim that aliens from this or that constellation would come to Earth from this or that constellation, simply to make some nonsensical religious and sectarian speeches and conversations, and to give divine advice, etc. This, apart from the absurdity of the fact that there is no evidence of such alleged contacts between aliens and the human beings of Earth, neither material nor photos and films.
That is indeed the case. In this respect, our contacts are the only exception, even if the good film and photographic evidence and materials of know-it-alls, troublemakers and malicious adversaries are not recognized and are called fakes, and also the contacts are called lies and fraud. Of all the many alleged contacts worldwide, there is not any real evidence. And if we leave aside the few real ones, which you know of and which died many years ago, then all that remains of the claims of alleged contacts and messages with and from strangers to the Earth are fakes, lies, and deception, as you would say. And if I may continue with your apt words, I want to say that for all the claims about contacts and messages with Earth foreigners, all that is left is a few hair-raisingly stupidly conceived contact conversations with alleged messages and channeling nonsense remain. That is it then. These alleged contactees probably believe that the Earth foreign intelligences are so stupid that they only come to Earth for banal chit-chat or for feeble-minded messages in the form of religious sectarian divine teachings, as well as for spreading free sexual love, etc. If the claims of the alleged contact persons were true, then firstly, such contacts would be very long-term and would provide good evidence. As is the case with our contacts with various materials, witnesses, photographs, and film footage, as well as brief encounters between ourselves and persons not involved in our personal contacts. And furthermore, such contacts would also be connected with a lifelong and valuable teaching activity. Because only for fun or the opportunity to give some brief information and then to go their way again, certainly no strangers to Earth would come to Earth and seek contact with Earth humans. Real contacts between Earth humans and strangers to the Earth can, of course, be purely fated and can only be of short duration, that is to say, be unique, as has actually happened in various cases. But then there is not a religious sectarian message connected with it. If at all a shorter or longer communication can come about due to the possibility of communication, since the strangers to the Earth are not familiar with the languages of the Earth. A knowledge of languages would only be possible if the foreigners who come to the Earth by coincidence were to learn the earthly languages, as is the case with us who, as a result of a certain mission, we and our ancestors deal with the earthly languages and also learn and speak them thoroughly. So it is a nonsensical assertion that Earth foreigners come to Earth and simply speak earthly languages. This is indeed only possible as in our case, which we have been dealing with earthly languages for thousands of years. Thus it is only possible for foreigners to speak earthly languages if they learn them first, or by using extensively functioning language converters, respectively translators, which however require a high level of technical skill and understanding of the languages in order to be able to produce them at all. And it is to be further said that certainly strangers to Earth are not simply coming to Earth to express themselves in a religious sectarian way or to talk in a friendly way with individual Earth humans who are inferior to them in every respect. When Earth foreigners come to the Earth, there are certain coincidences behind them, and there is also no direct interest in making contact with Earth humans. These strangers are then careful not to be observed by Earth humans and also not to get in contact with them, so they try to keep their coming secret. But if the strangers were interested in getting in contact with Earth humans, they would appear openly and get in touch with the rulers, because then political factors would be of importance. In the latter case, it is the same as in the contacts between you and us, where we have no political or military interests and therefore do not want to get in touch with earthly governments and military. But we are also not interested in maintaining contact with any Earth humans, to have banal chats with them or to talk about religious sectarian nonsense. Our task and our coming to Earth is based on a very old mission, which is based solely on assisting the prophets of the Nacademian line so that they can fulfill their difficult task and teach the Earth humans in the doctrine of the prophets. For this purpose. However, no public contacts with governments, the military, and also not with the population of the Earth itself are necessary, but only direct cooperation with the respective true prophets. A public appearance would be very counterproductive, for if such an appearance were to take place, we would be seen and worshipped as gods by delusional believers, while governments, the military, and scientists would be eager to get hold of our technical achievements. But this would not only put ourselves and our homeworlds and humanities in danger, but also worlds and humanities that do not belong to us. Not to mention the fact that an enormous chaos of warlike power would be created on Earth, because everything would be evaluated in terms of warfare. This is because the Earth humans in their barbarism are still far from being able to use high technology, which is ours, in a peaceful and humane way. So we are not allowed to confront the Earth humans in an open manner, but only secretly and with you alone, to whom you, as the last prophet of the Nocademian lineage, are fulfilling your duty. You alone do not mean any danger to us, for you are a like-minded person, and one who is like-minded in our mission, who, as a result of your great knowledge and wisdom concerning the laws and recommendations of creation and the knowledge of the Spirit, is deprived of all that which creates war. Strife, humility, dishonesty, subjection, greed, addiction to power, domination, and disharmony, as well as unfreedom, revenge, hatred, and lack of love, etc., respectively. Unfortunately, we cannot say this about another Earth humans in the context of what you have, which is not surprising, since no one else is classified as a prophet.
What do you want me to say?
Nothing, because what was to be explained is done with my words. Much more could be said, but that is probably superfluous.
If you want to grumble, rant, and tear everything to pieces, you will do so, both with what has been said, as it would also be the case if you were to explain more.
That corresponds to what I also think.
Do you know anything about whether any aliens still know the coordinates of the Sol system or even Earth, apart from those who already came here?
We don't know, but I also have to say that all extraterrestrials who came to Earth were more or less well-versed in space technology, which cannot be taken for granted. The majority of unearthly human races are still not capable of space travel. And others who have mastered space travel are only able to move within their own solar systems and cannot leave them. Interstellar space travel is extremely rare, as is the possibility of moving through dimensional gates into another space-time continuum, as we do and can also create such gates. And it must also be said that those who came to Earth from other space-time continuums could not deliberately create and fix the necessary dimensional gates, because in fact they were only able to move into this dimension of the Dern universe through momentary natural cracks in their space-time continuum. Others, on the other hand, who came from the Dern dimension, only came to Earth because they could create and use space-time gates, which is also a rarity.
Interesting, but you never told about that. Neither did your daughter Simyase nor Quetzal. Space-time gates, are they identical to the so-called wormholes that earthly astronomers suspect?
We could have given you the information, but you never asked for it. So we assumed that you were not interested in such information. We are used to you asking questions when you want to know something, or then information just comes out of the conversations, as it also does now. Space-time gates do not concern so-called wormholes, but rather, similar to a momentary natural crack in the space-time continuum, a crack in the space-time continuum caused by tremendous explosions or technical manipulations. This creates an effect that changes the universal wave structure of the universal space, which is similar to the effect of two rooms being separated from each other by a curtain of radiation or heat, which can easily be passed through from one side to the other, respectively from one room to the other.
Oh, then the matter is clear. That is explained in a comprehensible manner. Then I would like to ask you again about aspartame, which is also called E951. Lately I have been talking to someone about it, also about other sweeteners. And because you once said that aspartame causes various types of cancer, I also said that, of course. But my explanation was not taken seriously, as it is often the case with the human beings if you show them any danger. I have not only talked about sweeteners with you, but also with Quetzal. It was at the 447th contact report of the 20th of April 2007 that you made the following statement on the use of sugar.
Pleiadian contact reports, Volume 11.
Brown sugar or sweeteners should be avoided, as these are much more harmful to health than white sugar. Brown sugars and sweeteners also have the property that they can cause stress susceptibility, whereby stress in turn causes the brain to shrink, which in turn leads to anxiety states that quickly become chronic, resulting in damage to the psyche and also depressions being the ultimate consequences. This is not to say that white sugar is particularly healthy, because it is also harmful to health and leads to obesity if consumed in large quantities.
Quetzal gave me on the 1st of May 1988 some good explanations about sweeteners, so he told me the following during the conversation at the time.
You should avoid this, because sweeteners of various natural and chemical kinds, especially in the form of cyclamate, are sometimes very harmful to health and usually have exactly the opposite effect, namely that they promote weight gain by increasing appetite. They are also extremely unhealthy, as I said. In fact, the body absorbs many different substances from sweeteners, and cyclamate in particular, and as I have said, it damages health and the immune system, especially in the case of the human beings whose intestinal functions are such that they convert the sweetener in the form of cyclamate into cyclohexylamine, a poison which, in large quantities, leads to high blood pressure and can therefore be life-threatening. And indeed, some people also die from it without the doctors being able to identify the actual cause of death, in the absence of knowledge about the cyclamate's harmfulness. However, cyclamate also causes damage to the sperm and testicles of the man, which can lead to impotence. Damage caused by sweeteners, also specifically by cyclamate, can also occur in women, causing infertility. Sweeteners in the form of cyclamate can also have a cancer-promoting effect in men and women, but also in animals.
And what are the human beings who suffer from diabetes supposed to do, since they are not able to eat anything sweet anymore, if that is the case?
There are completely natural and healthy sweeteners from plants, berries, fruits and vegetables that are harmless to diabetics. But care must be taken to ensure that they are really harmless, because some plant sweeteners are also more or less harmful to health and general well-being, as well as to the immune system.
These plants, etc., would have to be known.
They are known, so they do not need to be specifically mentioned.
What interests me further is aspartame in particular, and what negative effects it can have. If you can say something about it, please.
Aspartame is a flavor enhancer and sweetener that changes quickly after it is absorbed by the human body. After only a few minutes, it decomposes into its basic substances, namely methanol, aspartic acid, and phenylalanine. The methanol is transformed and broken down, respectively converted into the nerve poison formaldehyde. This poison can no longer be broken down by the body. The consequence is that it is stored in the body for years and causes health problems of many kinds. Formaldehyde is extremely carcinogenic, especially with regard to bladder and prostate cancer, as well as lymph, blood, and breast cancer, in addition to all the ailments Quetzal and I have mentioned before. We should also mention all kinds of allergies caused by aspartame and other artificial sweeteners, as well as mild or severe nervous diseases, dermatitis and hives, etc.
Thanks. I have not got any more questions.
Then I want to leave now and be back here on the 1st of January for the correction work. Goodbye, my friend. Farewell, Edward.
I also bid you. Until then, Ptaah. I am very honored to be your friend. Take care.